Adventure in Brazilian jungle. It was supposed to be the trip of a lifetime. A group of university students from around the world had saved up for months to embark on a journey through the Brazilian jungle, an adventure that promised to be unforgettable. The group consisted of 6 students: Amanda from Canada, Juan from Mexico, Marie from France, Lars from Sweden, Emre from Turkey, and Mei Ling from China. They were all studying different subjects, but they shared a common love for adventure and exploration. Their journey began in Manaus, a bustling city in the heart of the Amazon rainforest. They spent a few days exploring the city and getting to know each other before heading deeper into the jungle. Their guide, a grizzled old man named Carlos, warned them of the dangers that lay ahead. He told them stories of jaguars, snakes, and other deadly creatures that lurked in the dense undergrowth. But the students were undeterred. They were young and fearless, and they believed that nothing could stop them. The first few days of the journey were idyllic. They paddled down tranquil rivers, hiked through verdant forests, and slept under the stars. They saw monkeys swinging from tree to tree, toucans with colorful beaks, and parrots that squawked in the trees. But then, things started to go wrong. They ran out of food, and the water from the rivers began to taste strange. Mei Ling fell ill, and her condition worsened with each passing day. Carlos tried to reassure them, but his face grew grimmer with each passing mile. One evening, as they sat around the campfire, they heard strange noises coming from the jungle. It sounded like something was moving through the trees, something big and powerful. Carlos told them to be quiet and stay still. They huddled together, their hearts pounding in their chests, as the noises grew louder and closer. And then, suddenly, the jungle erupted in a cacophony of sound. Birds took flight, monkeys screeched, and something large and heavy crashed through the undergrowth. The students screamed and scrambled for their tents, but Carlos stood his ground. He raised his rifle and aimed it into the darkness. And then they saw it. A pair of glowing eyes, as big as dinner plates, staring at them from the darkness. The creature let out a deafening roar, and Carlos fired his rifle. The sound echoed through the jungle, and the creature disappeared into the night. They spent the rest of the night huddled together, too afraid to speak. Mei Ling's condition had worsened, and they realized that they were lost in the jungle with no way out. They had no food, no water, and no means of communication. They were completely alone. Days turned into weeks, and the students struggled to survive. They drank from stagnant pools of water, ate insects and roots, and tried to keep Mei Ling alive. They wandered aimlessly through the jungle, hoping to stumble upon a village or a river that would lead them back to civilization. But as the days went by, they began to lose hope. Mei Ling died one night, her body racked with fever and dehydration. They buried her in a shallow grave and wept for her loss. And then, just when they thought things couldn't get any worse, they stumbled upon a ruined temple deep in the jungle. It was a massive structure, covered in vines and moss, with crumbling walls and a roof that had long since collapsed. But as they stepped inside, they realized that it was still inhabited. They heard strange whispers coming from the shadows, and they felt a cold wind blowing through the chambers. They tried to leave, but something held them back. They felt a strange compulsion to explore the temple, to delve deeper into its dark recesses. They found themselves drawn to a central chamber, where they saw a large stone altar surrounded by eerie, flickering torches. As they approached the altar, they saw a group of figures standing around it, their faces obscured by shadows. They heard chanting in a language they couldn't understand, and they felt a sense of unease wash over them. Suddenly, one of the figures stepped forward and revealed himself to be a tall, imposing man with a bald head and a scar on his face. He introduced himself as Ramon, the leader of a tribe that had been living in the jungle for centuries. Ramon explained that the temple was sacred to his people, and that they had been watching the students ever since they entered the jungle. He told them that they had trespassed on his people's land, and that they would have to pay a price. The students pleaded with Ramon, telling him that they were lost and had no intention of causing harm. But Ramon was unmoved. He told them that they had to undergo a test, a trial that would determine their fate. The trial was simple, but terrifying. They had to spend a night in the temple, alone and without food or water. If they survived until dawn, Ramon promised to lead them back to civilization. But if they failed, they would become sacrifices to the gods that his people worshiped. The students had no choice but to agree. They spent the night huddled together, listening to the whispers and chants that echoed through the temple. They saw shadows moving in the corners of their eyes, and they felt a sense of dread that seemed to permeate the very air. When dawn finally came, they stumbled out of the temple, weak and exhausted. Ramon was waiting for them, his face impassive. He led them back to their campsite, where they found their belongings intact and a supply of food and water waiting for them. They never spoke of the temple again. They returned to civilization, shaken and traumatized by their experience. They went back to their studies, but they were never the same again. They knew that they had experienced something that few people ever would, something that would haunt them for the rest of their lives.